Hi everyone, how are you doing tonight? Oh, and oh boy, do we have a lot to talk about tonight. You know what? I'm thinking that I told you this guys before, but I need some kind of a little theme song. It's like, you remember Mr. Rogers, and he always had that little song when he came into a sweater, right? And then, what was it? We have things we've got to talk about, blah, 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 something, you know what I'm talking about? I need these little intros to play in. So, but anyway, yeah, and I need to help you guys out. A lot of you are familiar with Mr. Rogers. I know that a lot of you are familiar and scarred heavily from Romper Room, from what was her name, Miss Marianne or something. Never seeing you in the mirror, and you always had to answer to, and I see you too. You don't see me, Miss Marianne, you're a liar. Okay, I was scarred heavily from Romper Room when they stopped having the snack. I looked forward to that snack, but then as the view time, I guess, got too long, they wanted to cut the program down, so they did away with the snack. That was like the best part for me, because I had a little tape. I had a little tiny little table, and I had my snack. My mother would have my snack all ready, and I would go there and I'd have the snack with them. And then it's just like one day, out of the blue, they didn't even tell you. You have your snack, your table ready, and it's just no more snack time. We're doing away with that snack time. It's like, oh, great, thanks. I appreciate that. Thanks for letting me know. Thanks for letting me know on that. So yeah, I was scarred heavily on that, and they never said my name either, so that's like two big scars, which might account for the way I am today. But I think it mostly accounts to my first grade teacher, which I wasn't going to go here, but if any of you are really good at finding someone that, I've been trying to find her. I just want to give this lady a piece of my mind. And you know what it is? She was really young when I had her, so like probably fresh out of college. And it's, as the years go on and I don't find her, she's just going to get older and older, and I don't want her to come, like, finally find her and someone's like, she's at the Sunnyvale rest home, and then they bring her out and she doesn't even know what day of the week it is, because then I really can't tell her off when she's like this old lady with white hair in the wheelchair and she doesn't remember the horrific things she did. Yeah. But I can't find her. I've done a search on her name. She must have gotten divorced, and no, I would really think she got divorced with that personality that she had. But yeah, she was definitely bipolar, and every teacher I had before that, after that, was fabulous. She was first grade, and she was like just nuts. And I did things, like, I was a really good kid. Like, I was not a troublemaker kind of a kid, so that's why it's even worse. And I don't know, but I haven't told this to a lot of people, but math, okay? When you have math and one would be the answer, like say if it was, first grade, whatever, we were in 10 minus 9, 1. I had that song stuck in my head, 1 is the loneliest number. This will tell you a lot about me, okay? So when the 1 was there on the paper, I would say to that number 1, in my head, I might have said it very low. Don't worry, little one, I'll get you a friend. I probably said it in my head because the people next to me would have had me brought to the school counselor. But in my head, I would say, don't you worry, little number 1, I'll get you a friend, little number 1. And I would draw right next to it with my pencil as light as I could. You could barely see it. Just a number 2, just so it was his friend, okay? So he wasn't lonely. And do you know, every time I got my paper back, she would say, erase your answers fully. And I'm like, do you really think I made a mistake with a little number 2 over there, and then I didn't erase it and put the 1, but I could never tell her. I couldn't say Mrs. Holmes, and that was her name, Tricia Holmes, if somebody wants to look her up. Northern New Jersey, Robert D. Reynolds School in Upper Saddle River. If you're good at finding her, I'd appreciate it. Shoot me an email. We got a brand new email. Carolyn, CAROLYN, @truecrimechat.org. Please send all emails relating to the True Crime Chat to that email address. Okay. So yeah, she would do things like, but that was mild what she did in comparison. I mean, she would just do like just crazy things. Like if I grabbed the wrong color paper, she would have a fit and tell me why couldn't I be more like Stacy Chian Charuso. Stacy Chian Charuso, if you're out there, I haven't seen you in ages, but yeah, you probably remember that. Maybe you don't because you were the teacher's pet, but yeah. And I was a really good kid, and I used to look across the hall. Mrs. Gleason was across the hall, and she was such, a really nice first grade teacher, long black hair, very nice. And I had the witch with the like straw colored hair. It was very dry hair. And she had it out for me. And I think I know why she had it out for me. I think I know why she had it out for me, because of my mother. My mother was the same thing. I'm the youngest of 5. Like I said, my brother was entering law school when I was born. So my mother's been there, done that. She could show anybody else the ropes, right? And she knew what was like significant and what's not significant, like I do with my younger kids, right? Because I'm like, who knows if your baby had a bottle till they were 3 or they were 2? It doesn't make any difference. My daughter still graduated where she did in her, in graduate school. She still got the job of her dreams. It really didn't matter if she had a bottle 6 months longer than the baby next door. But so much emphasis is put on that, and it's ridiculous, right? So it's totally ridiculous. And my mother knew that, just like any experienced mom. They always say, be friends with the mother that, it's the last one, and she's the older mother and she has more experience, because she'll show you what's important and what's not, because it's really not important. But anyway, here's what happened. My mother went to the back to school night, is what they called it over there, and my mother was a tiger, okay? My mother may or may not have slapped a nun that slapped my brother across the face, knocking his glasses across a room. My mother may or may not have gone to the school and slapped the nun. I'm not sure which is a little bit of exaggeration or not. My 3 brothers all went to Catholic school, and then when they built our house in Upper Saddle River, my sister and I went to the public schools there, so we didn't have nuns or anything like that. But I got the witch of the teacher. So my mother went there, and if my mother came home, my mother was like fighting mad when she came home. What is wrong with that lady? There's something wrong with her. I'm like, yeah, I think so. But see, I never complained as a kid, so I never told my mother anything. I was a kid that just didn't complain. If I would have probably, in hindsight, it was probably because of that story that was told all the time about when she went to the school and may or may not have slapped the nun across the face, that slapped my brother so hard that his glasses went flying and broke, and he came home with no glasses. So yeah, it might have been for that story, and I don't even remember it. It's just subconsciously don't tell mom anything, because mom's a tiger. So I just, okay. She comes home, she's furious. And I'm like, well, what's going on? She's like, that lady, she's, something's wrong with her. I said, what'd she say? She said, oh, well, first of all, I think she's taking a little too long to tell time. Okay, so my mother's like, okay, we'll review the clocks with her. Believe me, I got the clocks, and there was no problem. It didn't affect me from tripling my sciences in high school and everything like that. So yeah, that was okay, but that wasn't really what my mother was upset about. My mother was upset because the teacher said, I think there's something wrong with your daughter, because she has a few girlfriends in the class, but she's friends with every one of the boys, every single one of them. She's friends with them. So my mother honestly said this. She said, well, then I think my daughter's has learned much earlier than I could ever wish for, that there are mean girls and catty girls, and she knows that boys are just easier to relate to because you don't have to play any of those you don't have to play those kind of games. And my mother was spot on, okay? So we had a lot of mean girls in the schools. That mean girl, they would make mean girls look mean. They would make the mean girls that you see in that movie, they made them look tame, okay? So yeah, I would always have a few close girlfriends, and then I was friends with a lot of guys, platonically, at that time and stuff. So absolutely, because I was heavy in sciences too, so it was just natural But anyway, yeah, so they would teach me how to whistle, and this one would teach me, and she apparently had a really big problem with this. Not that I was, doing anything inappropriate, but they were my friends. So she didn't like that, had it out for me, I guess. One day she would do something crazy, like I would ask the kid next to me, what page are we on after I've been absent? And she'll say this, what are you doing, cheating? How are we cheating? We're in a workbook. She took my desk and she railed it. She just pushed me and the whole desk back into a pole, screaming like a lunatic at me. And all I can remember thinking is, this lady is whacked. And I just remember thinking, this lady is whacked out of her mind. Next day she gives me the lead in the school play. And that's what I'm thinking. She was probably like bipolar, and I shouldn't have done that. I really lost it, or whatever. See, I don't know what kind of disorder she had. She had some type of disorder. And just like the Stacy Chantarusso thing, that was another thing she said, okay, now go write your little essay. And I grabbed the yellow line paper instead of the green line paper, and she came over to my desk screaming, why can't I be more like Stacy Chantarusso? And that is such a last name to spell. Anyway, my daughter says I should just get over it, let it go, let it go, let it go. But I really want to give her a piece of my mind, and I thought, what good is social media if you can't find this lady and just say, you know what, you were cracked. And you really shouldn't have been teaching kids. And I came out pretty good in spite of you, because I had the greatest second grade teacher, Mrs. Murphy, after that, who was everything this one was not. But I used to spend my days looking across the hall at Mrs. Gleason's class and saying, why couldn't I have been in Mrs. Gleason's class? And if I would have told my mother would have just grabbed me and put me in Mrs. Gleason's class and taken me away from the witch. But it affected me so much that I remember seeing a documentary last time, and I know I'm rambling, I will get to the content in a second here. I have to get this off my chest. There was a wire monkey and a furry monkey, and they put a little chimpanzee in the enclosure. And the wire monkey would have the meats, the food, the sustenance, everything this chimpanzee baby needed to live. And the fur monkey had nothing to offer except its fur. And so the conclusion of this was that the monkey was going to prefer the furry monkey. Even though the wire monkey is giving it sustenance, it's still not enough to create a bond that it's going to bond with that wire monkey, because really, who wants to sleep with a wire monkey? I mean, you cuddle on a wire monkey, it's pretty hard, right? But forever I've used that analogy, and when my kids had teachers coming up, I would look, because I had the wire monkey, okay? I had the teacher that gave you the things that she was supposed to give you, but there was no nurturing side, at least not towards me. To Stacy Chantarusso, she was probably very nurturing. To me, she had it out for me. I'm sure it's something, whatever. But so I remember in our own school with my kids, I remember telling my son's kindergarten teacher, I said, I want him to have this teacher and not that one, because that one is the wire monkey. I actually said that to her. That one is the wire monkey, and then I explained it. But my daughter's like, I was telling my daughter this like 2 years ago. I'm like, I'm trying to find this woman here, and I can't find her on social media. I realize she's probably divorced, but I'm tracking her down. I'm a pretty good sleuth. So like everybody goes to me, how did you find that? Like in my family, how did you find him? Like my daughter just has to give me a name of someone, and automatically I'm like, is he the guy that works for MIT? And he's like, how did you find that? I can find it immediately. So I was really upset that I couldn't even find a trace of this woman. So if someone wants to volunteer their services to find this woman, I just really want to give her just a little piece of my mind. Not in a bad way, just saying, I don't know what the heck your problem was, but you really had a problem. Okay. And I brought to Mr. Rogers, and yeah. Because this all relates to something my husband said. Somebody tweeted out today that you don't have to listen to your lousy teachers. Now my husband took great offense at that, because he was a calculus and science and physics teacher in a college prep boarding school, and in professor in one of the local colleges. So when anybody says anything about a teacher or professor, so then I immediately recanted, well, maybe this person means the loser teachers, is what he said. Not that all teachers are losers, but I would think I would classify that first grade teacher in the loser teacher category. And then my husband just didn't know where I was going with that, and like, he probably knew where I was going. He was like, oh my gosh, she's going to go on again about the first grade teacher. Look, you lived to tell about it. You're okay. nothing really, really bad happened to you. How does he know that? I could have been so much more, right? I don't know, but it is what it is, right? It's not going to change. I just want to give her a piece of my mind before she gets too old, okay? That's what I mean. Before they bring her out, she doesn't know what day it is, and then, because the next thing you know, then they'd be like, did you give her a piece of your mind? I'm like, no, I'm actually going back next Saturday because she wants me to take her to bingo. And that's exactly what would happen, because I can't, it's really hard. When someone reaches that age and then, if she really has no recollection, and then she's like, oh, you look I'm so glad you came to visit me. You want to make sock puppets? We have arts. Yeah, and I'll be making sock puppets with her and stuff, and then I'll forget it all, right? But either way, it'll be therapeutic, whether I get to tell her off and just get it off my chest and hear what she has to say, and then, forgive her and make up, or then I just end up making sock puppets with her. That's got to be highly therapeutic, or bingo, especially if I win, or she wins. I'll probably end up calling the numbers, and I'll be there every Saturday. I'll be there every Saturday, and then my husband will be like, how'd it go? Well, I'm doing the bingo every Saturday. Yeah. It's good though. I feel good. Member of the community, volunteering my time. I feel good. They're telling me about some true crimes. So you never know where that could lead. So, you know what? Maybe look at it a different way. Look, I'm coming full circle now. Maybe if I do find her when she's in the nursing home, it just might be like this broken road that I've got to take, and she was put there for a reason. They say everybody's there for a reason. And maybe my quest to go tell her off is going to lead to something else, You never know. Or it's just my obsessed, crazy ramblings and nothing. Anyway, what was I going to say? I started to watch that Golden State Killer thing on HLN, but I couldn't really concentrate so much. My daughter was home for the weekend. She just left to go back to Manhattan. We did a lot of baking. She made me make these cookies from this Allison. What the heck is her name? Salted butter chocolate chip. I don't know what the heck the name is of them, but I don't know. My daughter was really impressed. She goes, "Oh my gosh, yours came out so much better than mine." And I'm like, they really weren't hard to. Oh my gosh, yours look just like the Instagram picture. I'm like, oh, okay. Because my daughters are pretty good. I mean, she bakes a lot of things. She's doing that British baking challenge thing. She didn't want to come on to do anything because she didn't want to even get, like, when she comes here, she's like stays in her pajamas like 24/7 because she leads such a crazy life. She did do her yoga and stuff, but she just, it's just like total relax. I'm going to get her on, I think, when we have that software, which I'm one step closer because I got my G Suite hooked up. Big news. I told you guys, new email address, right? New email address. And so just send me anything that you have there to that address. It's not going to say that I'm going to get to it any sooner. It's just going to be categorized in the right place, okay? And that'll be good. So that's Carolyn@truecrimechat.org. It's .org. And you can send stuff there. Now the other thing is, what was the other big news? Oh, that I got the G Suite hooked up finally, and that took me, that's why I didn't get a video up or made me last night, because I was on the phone with all the customer service. G Suite is something that you pay for. It's not just the free Gmail, but it's for business, for websites, whatever. It has a Hangouts that's different than the other Hangouts that will let you do web conferencing, and so I'm going to try that one out first and try to get to know that. So it's one step closer, and that would probably be when, like my daughter, my kids or something, I could patch them in, and then we can there's also call-ins. So I had to figure all that out, but that should be coming along now. So that's one step closer to that. And what was I going to say? Oh, and then we're I don't know, YouTube says I have 9,000 subscribers, but they put you at 9,000 once you go over, like, whatever it is, once you tip the scales, even if you're not all the way there, they change your little thing. So if you go to the exact tally, it's 8,500 and I don't know, something. When we get to 10,000, we're going to have a party. We'll have a live party. I'll go live for the 10,000 and we'll do something. But we'll have cake and balloons and something. We'll have a party, okay? We'll have a live party. I'll try that live again at 10,000. So let's You know, when we have the party is going to determine that. But, all right, I mean, the number of subscribers will determine how quick the party is, how soon the party is. I'm going to get, now, I wanted to do something, where was I? Someone's been telling me to look into that. I did watch and do some research on Jessica Chambers. So I've looked into that some. And then, who else told me something else? Oh, somebody told me about some North Carolina. Then the people came from Canada. I don't have it in front of me. And then he ended up killing her. I don't know if he killed the kids too. I can't remember. I started to look into that. Okay, but I want to look at the differences between, because I've been going through Scott Peterson too to get some stuff over here. I wanted to look into, there's differences in the mistresses, differences in the parents, differences in, Scott and Chris, but I want to look at the mistresses first because I think it's so telling that she immediately starts looking at Amber Frey, right? And she is putting herself in the same vein as Amber Frey, and really she couldn't be any more different than Amber Frey. And I'm going to explain why in just a second here. So the internet was around when Amber Frey was there, but not anyway the way it is now. Okay, there was no Facebook and anything like that. I think there was MySpace then, right? But a lot of people weren't even on it, okay? Especially people of a certain age. It was mostly young kids in high school and stuff that were on MySpace, maybe early college. But MySpace was never like Facebook, and then we have all that. I think Facebook started when, 2000, was it 2003? Facebook might have just been starting then. Who knows when Facebook started? I don't know. But whatever it was, it certainly wasn't like it is now. And we have Amber, who went on a blind date, who was set up on this blind date with Scott, right? She wasn't hiding anything. She didn't go, and you're not going to find emails that say she really likes his family. She didn't know he had any family. She brought him to her work Christmas party where they took pictures of them. She had no idea. Blindsided. Completely blindsided. So he must have been freaking when the news reports start coming on, and she then, as soon as she recognizes something, she immediately calls police. She doesn't need a day or so to process things before she goes to the police, as NK said. I wish I'd come in sooner. I had to process everything. Yeah, you had to process looking at all your stuff with Daddy and going through mass deletion and looking at everything and tallying up, what kind of information's out there, making sure those burner phones are gone and all this stuff, right? It just didn't say innocence at all. And that's what I'm alleging she's doing. Okay, do I know facts on it? No, but I can know that she deleted things from her phone. Now the reason she says and the reason I think, they don't align, but doesn't mean that I'm not right. It doesn't mean that I'm not right. But I can only allege it. Anyway, you didn't see anything like that with Amber Frey. In fact, she was very upset. She was very concerned for the family. Lacey had not been found at that time. When the investigators asked her to tap the phone, if they could tap the phone, she got a call immediately. She immediately started helping them. She wasn't thinking like, I'm still going to continue this relationship with this guy, or that she really wasn't repulsed. It wasn't, oh, he's so disgusting. That was just so put on. Okay, I think it was. She helped seal that case where she went then and testified, okay? So she testified on the stand. She also did a press conference before Lacey was even found. Once they got, I guess, enough of the wiretaps to, show what they wanted to show, she went there and she felt bad for Lacey's family. Our prayers were given to Lacey's family. We didn't see anything like this with NK, not at all, not at all. In fact, everything we saw that she wanted their daughter's life, okay? That it wasn't an accident, that it was a deliberate stalking, if you would, when we have those emails from work where she knew exactly what it is. She could say, oh, I thought he said this, or I thought he said that. She knew exactly what it was. And Facebook was right there, and Shanann's page was public, so it doesn't make any difference. It's right there, and we know she searches for things. She immediately started searching for if Amber Frey was hated. I don't know why she put herself in the same vein as Amber Frey. She is nothing like Amber Frey. And like I said, I really think she thought she was going to have this Amber Frey moment with the press conference and everybody saying, oh, you're so great, King. You didn't do anything like that, NK. You're not anything like that, okay? So that's when she kept saying, well, when do you think my name's going to come out? When do you think my name's going to... She was really looking forward to it coming out. She was really looking forward to holding her own little NK press conference. And that didn't happen because she didn't help them the way NK did, the way that Amber did. Okay, so yeah, that's number one there. Number two is that she wasn't blindsided by this, and nor did she act blindsided by it. Okay, Amber did not hold anything back from the investigators. We had, Scott leaving a present in the bushes. She was letting them know everything. They were on the tapes. Everything was there, and she was truly helpful to the case. She was truly key in the case, and NK did everything to destroy text, to destroy information. She lied from one interview to the next, to the next, to the next, to the phone call, and just seemed like she was totally manipulating them in those interviews, took control of everything there, told them who they're going to talk to, who they're not. Totally not like Amber Frey. And then what does she do? She searches for Amber Frey book deal or Amber Frey's net worth, those things, okay? So then her mind right there is not on what happened, or if somebody was truly duped by this, like, oh my gosh, that was the love of my life and I can't. It wasn't that. She wasn't reeling from this. She knew what this was. She knew what it was. She was on to the next thing. Well, how can I, did she make out on this? I got a book deal. Maybe I could go down that route. I can pretend I'm like Amber Frey. But no, you can't. And you can't, because you didn't do any of the things that you needed to do. All right? So you were too worried about your own, whatever was done or not done. There's something that seems like you're covering your tracks. Okay? So, yeah.
The series revisits most of the key players, including Amber Frey, Scott's mistress, whose bombshell admission changed everything.
Scott told me he was not married. We did have a romantic relationship.
A revelation Peterson discusses in a 2004 audio tape that was never released until now.
Why did you talk to Amber after Lacey had gone missing?
The overriding reason throughout it all was she started doing media interviews. No more search for Lacey Connor. I'd seen what had happened to the search for Chandra Levy with Gary Condon. As soon as it was revealed that he had sex with her, there was no more search for her. Every hour I get by, the search going, keep us all solved when I bring Lacey Connor home.
Big difference in the two of them, and again, Amber Frey was not hated. In fact, she spoke with the Rokas, and they thanked her for coming forward and thanked her for doing these recordings, okay? Because these showed what Scott did, essentially, okay? And then let them see the kind of person he was. So totally not the same thing. You could see a timeline. You could see that she was happy standing in front of a Christmas tree. She was totally blindsided. NK was totally not blindsided. NK knew that she had to be hid, okay? Whereas Amber never knew that, okay? He was going out with her out in public and everything. And then, he told her his wife was lost, and that was 3 weeks before that he lost his wife. So yeah, all of just night and day. But she wants to think that there's something similar there, and there's not. There's absolutely not. There's our new email. Carolyn at truecrimechat.org. Carolyn at truecrimechat.org. Now let's go on. Before we answer the questions, I have a question that's been sent to me about people that weren't in class again, and they're asking about these that were in the discovery. This is nothing new. In fact, nothing in that discovery is new. It's been around since November. And this is not, somebody said, can you check this out? Is that a divorce? Did he file for divorce? No, he didn't file for divorce. If you want to read along with the discovery, you can see that the plaintiff is Wyndham Hill Master Association, Inc. This is for their homeowners association that they were delinquent in. Okay, now the date that they were supposed to show up in for the summons was August 24th. The summons was filed on July 12th. It's right up here. There's a little stamp. Yes. Okay, so date filed July 12th, 2018 at 10:53 a.m. There's a filing number, County Court, County of Weld, State of Colorado, and the court address, Greeley, Colorado. The attorney is Amanda K. Ashley, and it's a copy of the complaint against you. This is defendants Christopher L. Watts and Shanann Watts, okay? So it's for both of them to show up there. Unfortunately, Chris decided to take Shanann's life, so she couldn't go there, and he was incarcerated when this came. There's also a date back here of June 22nd, so if you want to file an answer or request a jury trial, and you're indigent, you must appear at the above date and time, fill out a financial affidavit, and ask the court to waive the fee June 22nd. So they were, I think this is like, there's 3 notices in there. And I'll tell you what here, well, I'll show you that it's the Homeowners Association. One I have, let's see. Here's the amount they owe. So it says assessments, late fees through June 22nd, $683.80. And then reasonable attorney fees, $650. Estimated court costs. And if you hear some strange noises, my husband is right there making limeade because he just loves to make limeade when I make videos.
I'm thirsty, honey.
Yeah, okay. Estimated court costs, $200, and total due $1,533.80, plus $54 a month for assessments, late fees of $15 per month thereafter, and then there's an interest rate of 18%. So that's what this is. This is not a divorce petition. Okay? All right. So when you have a divorce petition, you're going to have, it would say Christopher L. Watts versus Shanann Watts. They're listed together here, so that's the first tip-off that this is not a divorce proceeding. And the second one is that the plaintiff is the Homeowners Association, the Wyndham Hill Masters Association. Okay? So reading is fundamental again, and so we've solved that mystery, right? Okay, but I guarantee I'll still get 18 questions about it. Did you see that new divorce decree he filed for? No. All right. Frazee is tomorrow. Everybody's really excited, right? But they're not going, the judge is going to make the motion on whether they're going to unseal stuff for us to see anything, and they're not going to allow cameras. So we're going to have to hear it from people that are in the courtroom after that, unless something changes. So that's disappointing for all of us that want to see that. But we will get some more information about that. And I'm hoping we'll get some more information about the antifreeze nurse that we're following. Today was the President's Day holiday, so, oh boy, he's going to town on the limit. Okay, almost done with that?
I need sugar.
Sugar?
Yes, sugar.
But you're done squeezing the limes?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And what else are we going to say here? All right, so let me get your questions. We'll do questions. Nice, put it in the water.
Sorry, folks.
Oh, we have the ice maker now. Okay, it looks like you guys finally left. Well, whoops, wait a minute, maybe. Hopefully you left some more questions here. I know a lot of you are confused about the questions. I've been putting them in the video description where you leave them. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, we have some new questions. That's good. All right, this is from Kathy. No last name, Kathy. No picture, just a purple background with a little purple person without a face or clothes or anything. Just a little icon. So Kathy, sending a question. Wondering, in the Barrett case, can there be enough blood in her home to prove that she was murdered there? Well, from what I understand, when he was arrested, they did say they believed something happened there, and I did hear through the grapevine, and who knows how truthful that is, but that, yes, they have very strong evidence to say that something happened in her house. So I imagine there's some type of evidence that points to that. Whether it's blood or not, we should soon find out. You're afraid Patrick did something to make the body unrecognizable. And then she puts in parentheses, little pieces with an angry face. I sure hope he doesn't get away with murder. Yeah, well, we don't want another, Casey Anthony. Nobody that wants that. It's just, yeah, well, why are they... I think tomorrow's going to be very telling, and we'll see. I'll definitely follow up with that with you guys, but there were some charges, I think, dropped. Now, whether they were dropped just because they had put a bunch of them for different scenarios and they narrowed it down to the scenario that it was, and let's just hope that it's not that they don't have enough evidence. But I think they had a lot of evidence on him, and we hope that, this Crystal's going to do her job to testify. So let's see what happens tomorrow, and we'll get a better idea. Okay. We have Jay Friday? Jay Friday, or is it Friddy? Do you believe NK was involved in the murders, and why do you think that? I don't know if she physically did anything. I believe she was a force behind him. I believe if he had not been involved with her, he would not have done this. I believe she found very quickly how quickly she could manipulate him and the power that she had over him. And yeah, I think that she was probably amazed at how she could control him. And I can't say for sure that she definitely said, well, let me see him kill his family. Let's see if I can push him that far. But I think the timeline and then saying those things that she was going to start dating other people and all of this definitely upped the ante for him. And then there was those little bits of text we saw, and it said, well, we might not be able to see each other as much, and then I think she freaked when she wasn't going to see him as much, and I have to see you. So she just pushed that envelope, and he was just a guy he could get that tunnel vision for one thing, and someone's given him directions, and that's all he's seeing is, I've got to do this to be with her. He's not thinking of the consequences. He's not thinking what could happen in the long term. No, he's just on that little goal that she set for him. You've got to do this to get to me. In other words, now whether she came right out and said, you have to kill your wife and kids, or she put it in other terms, but definitely she had some role in, that I feel, in the manipulation of this, in giving him this motive. And without her, no, I don't think he would. I know he wouldn't have done this without her, because he needs someone like that. So if he didn't have someone like that was pushing him and directing him, no, he wouldn't have done this. Okay. Not at that time. If someone else came along like that a year from now, then definitely. Okay, so why am I looking at this? Your questions are here. All right, so then we have Molly Low Liz. One more tagline that includes your brand. Mommy here. Are you ready for true crime in real time? Let's ramble. It's good, Molly. Are you ready to ramble? Okay. Just some thoughts. Never stop rambling, Mommy. It's a safe bet that I'm not going to. It's a pretty safe bet that I'm not going to, Molly. And oh, okay, there's two things. I got confused here. So she says, never stop rambling, Mommy. Love your tube. Thanks. And it's interesting and funny. The alarm going off today while you were broadcasting was cracking me up. And your comments about the construction crew staring at you through the window, way too funny. Keep rambling. Well, if you notice, I'm doing this at night. They're gone. And they left. They kicked off early today because it was just too miserable out to be up very high putting siding and stuff on, so they kicked out of here early. Let's see. Molly Low Liz is going on again. I have some ideas. She's got some more ideas for a tagline. Beginning of my tubes. Are you all ready for some true crime in real time? Let's do it. And she's got Mommy here bringing you true crime in real time. Let's go. Okay. And then she's got Mommy in the house. Let's talk true crime in real time. Okay, she wants me to go a little bit into the rapping. Gotcha, Molly. I gotcha. It was probably when I did this the other day. She thinks like, ooh. Okay, so let's see what else. Mama Bear. Did I answer this, Mama Bear? No. Hi, Carolyn. You mentioned about burner phones. So when the female officer was in the basement with the dogs, when they came up from the basement, she told Amanda and Nick Thayer that there was a cell phone downstairs on the workout bench, and that confuses me as to why the officer did not take pictures of it too. She took pictures of even the totes with stuff, meds, and other things. Why would she not call another officer to show him that phone too? Mama Bear, I'm going to have to review that because I didn't see that. Maybe I don't remember it. So when they were downstairs with the dogs, you're saying that she came up and told Nick and Amanda Thayer in a video that you saw that there was a cell phone on the workout bench? Now, while that could have been a cell phone of somebody that was there, because believe it or not, found many cell phones in here that belong to people that work here, contractors and things. We just bought furniture recently, and my kids were, how they have all the little living rooms set up. Well, we were way, way away from this salesperson's desk, and my husband actually found an iPhone on the couch over there, and he picked it up, and she goes, "Oh, that's mine. I was wondering where I left it." So yeah, we don't know whose it could be, but the way Chris is attached to his phone, I doubt it was his, and they already had Shanann, so you're thinking that it's a burner phone? I don't know that, but if they said that, and I'll have to go back to look at that, and I will get back to you on that, unless we could talk about it here if someone knows it in the chat, because I don't remember that point. So I will get back to you on that one, Mama Bear. I will check that out and get back to you the next time. Let's see. Okay, so Pamela Seidelman says, Mommy R. Yes, Pamela? I have a suggestion for you. Okay, we'll see what it is. Would you have any interest in making a video on narcissism and narcissistic abuse? When I thought about it, this is really the core of the whole problem and tragedy. I feel it's not an understood form of abuse. I thought I knew when it was, but not, because I am 47 years old and I just got out of an 8-year relationship with a narcissist, and OMG, he had practically every single characteristic of CW. I didn't know what was happening to me, and I was miserable, and I felt like I was going crazy, probably like Shanann felt. It got so bad I felt like I didn't want to live anymore. You're being so incredibly articulate and have a mesmerizing delivery when you speak. Your personality is magnetic and people will listen to you. I just know you can save thousands of people, women and men too, from getting stuck in the web of confusing and horrific abuse. It could be informative in an all-encompassing sense, so people know warning signs and can get out before it's too late, and it also can contain particular examples you are so familiar with, such as CW and Scott Peterson. I strongly believe this is the origin of so many terrible stories of abuse and murder, and you would be fantastic at informing and therefore empowering potential victims. So much respect and appreciation for all you do. Okay, yeah, I can do that. There is also this thing where people don't realize who is a narcissist, who's not, but that there are so many traits of narcissism in people in general. But if you look at it, you could say, because I said everybody's a narcissist, everybody's one, because there's so many traits, and then you'll stay away from everybody. So it's important to know what are some normal traits that can seem to overlap, and then what is full-on red flags, stay away, get away, right? So yeah, we'll see about making a video on that, sure. Okay. Did they, this is Bella Lou. Did they find out what was in the calculator app? Yeah, they did find out. It was a bunch of, I don't think they released all the pictures because some of them were naked, and but there were pictures in compromising poses. There was that picture of that necklace that he saw in Myrtle Beach that he held out, that they believe she's even wearing, both, though she didn't mention it when she got gifts. She said, you know, he gave her some cards and things. She didn't mention this necklace, which is probably just another lie. But anyway, that is, yeah, it was stuff like that, whatever they could get, and they didn't release everything because some of the stuff was naked photos. Okay, so then we have Sandra Grace says, when did the transition from killing her in rage to confessing to all the murders happen? I must have missed that. I guess after the autopsies. I would like to see this part. Okay, no, that part wasn't, you're not going to see that because it wasn't, if it was recorded, it hasn't been released. But if you go online, you can see things that say that the defense, in regards to the plea deal, the defense had told Chris, there's so much evidence linking you to this, that they thought the plea deal was in his best interest because there was so much evidence, and that defense that Shanann killed the kids wasn't going to hold any water. And he then decided, apparently looking at the amount of evidence they had after some screaming and yelling and not wanting to do this, but he did it because he saw what they had, and I think a very strong inkling, he had a very strong feelings about bringing NK in to testify, and he knew that the prosecution would bring NK in, and he didn't want to go and have all that baggage unleashed. And he wanted to protect her, I think. I think that's his main motivation for not going through with the trial. Not that I think he didn't kill the kids, okay? Because the things he said and tried to pin it on Shanann, that's all a bunch of baloney, okay? He could have had someone help him, but it definitely was not Shanann killing those kids at all. So he knew what he was doing, and he picked not to have a trial, not to spare his parents, because his parents wanted the trial. So he would have done the exact opposite. It's because of the amount of evidence and bringing NK into court and subjecting her to that. Okay. Cheryl Patton says, any information on if the Watts' parents are back at work after having difficulty going out in public? Okay, the only difficulty I've heard about them, because they had no problem going on news channels doing interviews. November, December, they went on a few news channels, gave interviews slandering Shanann, so they had no problem doing that, and they looked, okay to do that. So I'm not aware of what's going on. I told you that I did get contacted from someone that said, they're barely breathing. I think that's what she's barely breathing. To which I mentioned, because when I thought, and I took that poll, I thought, well, maybe they're going to do something. And then I was told, no, they never said that. And, I just said, oh my gosh, whatever. And I just realized that I don't think they could ever do that. It's just not in their makeup. So while they're barely breathing, they still seem to be breathing hate, because I was sent that video then and told that if I watch the video, that if I can't see the truth in that video, then something, I forget the exact word, but something must be wrong with me. And it was a video, as I've told you in the comments, just of Chris, his parents, and Bella and Cece. There were no pictures in there of Shanann, and whoever sent this to me seemed to think that if I saw this, then I would say, oh my gosh, you're right. Yeah, she was abusive. I was like, are you, I don't know, I said, how could you think that? There are so many pictures, so many videos of Shanann and her parents and family with these kids. What are you trying to show me by this? And I said, you know what it is? I think it's a huge slap in the face, too. That after all this, and you're talking to me about olive branches and bridges, and then you go and send me a video where this is new, she's completely cut out. It's a huge slap in the face. And I said, you know what this is going to do? This is not going to smooth things over. This is going to just infuriate people. I said, it's infuriating me. And then you're taking it the wrong way. And the Wattses didn't make this or whatever. Who asked you to give it to me? And why are you thinking that this is going to change my mind? It was just another, I don't know, it's not people that want to try to bring peace or do anything. It's people that are seeming like to incite things. And so yeah, I mean, it was disgusting. There was a link, I put it in the chat. I don't know if any of you have gone to see the video. I know a few of you did. It's very infuriating, and that was it. So that's what I said to her, you say they're barely breathing, but they're certainly breathing a lot of hate. Whatever. Why even send that to me? I don't get it. If they didn't make it, if they didn't, and to think a video is going to tell me, I don't know. It's just, it left me very, very disgusted, to say the least. Okay. Okay, so Susan Johnson says, the people who troll you, is that from a page called Critical K or something? It came across my suggested YouTube. Wasn't sure if that was the one. She's only has about 900 subscribers. She's no mommy. Yeah, and she's no critical thinker either. But okay. Yeah, they have that speculations group, and the woman that took down the Facebook page and kicked everybody out of the group and blocked them, yes, was a member in that group. Yes. Okay, and then Susan Johnson has another question. Hi, I hate to ask you again. Do you think that NK and Chris will ever correspond? And do you think NK will try to get a book deal? I wouldn't put it past her to try to get a book deal. But like I said, between the Amber and her comparison, I don't really, see what she's going to do. I mean, what is it going to be? One of those 99 cents or free ebooks or something? I don't know. I don't see people wanting to support that because, again, so many feeling that she is the total catalyst for this to happen. But you don't put anything past anyone, I say, so she could. And what I don't expect her to be conversing with Chris because he has nothing to offer her now. He has nothing to offer her now. She doesn't want that. No, remember what she wants? She wants Shanann's life. She's probably onto, greener pastures and stalking other people. Allegedly. I think. My opinion. I don't know. She's probably onto other things. All right, Cheryl Patton's got a lot of questions here, but let's go to somebody else. Okay, Robin Lane says she's very late to the discussion and the show. She apologizes. It's all good, Robin. Just be on time from now on. If no one got back regarding whether NA, Nicole Atkinson, I'm assuming you mean, ever said if Shanann planned to confront CW when she dropped her off that last night, I'm almost positive Shanann had written a letter to CW on the plane home and told NA she intended to read it to CW that night or morning. But of course, I could be wrong, but I've heard that more than once. She left him a letter, and then was hoping that he was going to write one back because he expressed himself better in letters, I should say I allegedly figured out why, because he probably, when he writes the letters, he Googles about how you should feel for whatever it is. So if he had to say, I'm sorry for something, how does someone say I'm sorry to your wife when you've done this or that, and then he writes down. That's probably why she felt he expressed himself better in letters, because he had help with that. So she had her letter there, and then she was hoping, and she said it in a text somewhere, she hoped that he would have his letter because he expressed himself better in letters, but he never wrote a letter to her. And that was from Robin Lane. Okay, and then Tanya Renee says, hi, I would like to know if anyone has ever looked into the fact that Chris took off Friday before work. She means the day Shanann left, early in the morning when Nicole picked her up. They were gone by like 4:30 in the morning. We went over that in another video. Telling a coworker he took Shanann to the airport. Right, there was a lie. And I went over this lie and why he said this. Maybe it was just that he was just taking off from work. He was going to pick up that fire stick or drop the fire stick off in the parking lot, and that's when Troy McCoy met him and saw the kids in the back seat. And he either said that he had taken Shanann to the airport, he had to stay home to watch the kids. So whether he told his coworkers or not that he was taking them to the airport, yes, it was a lie. Maybe I don't know, he could have just said, well, I have to watch the kids. I don't know why he chose to lie about the airport thing. Who knows? But yeah, that was a lie. And then he did document what he did that day. Don't you remember? No, that was, didn't they go to get his glasses fixed that day? The next day they went to Target because, I'm trying to think, no, Sunday. Sunday was the day they went to Target and they got the present. I went through this in a video and I said even how many things he got done that day, and then got the kids home for a nap. And then got them up and went to the party. That was Sunday. So he did a few things that day. But I think this Friday, this is when he said he was going to go to Costco. But Shanann said she'd do it when she got back. And I think they did go to some place to get his glasses fixed. And then they came home, and I think they played in the backyard and hung around home is what he said. Right? Because then the next day is when he got the babysitter, Jeremy's daughter, and went to the Lazy Dog and to, I could say something not nice, but to so-and-so's house. Okay, before and after. NK called in sick that day as well. Okay, where did you hear that, Tanya, that NK called in sick that day? Because just make sure that it's from a source, because I haven't seen that NK called in sick that day. Did she say it in one of her interviews? I'm not aware of that. Anybody else you can put in the chat? I don't remember seeing that. A lot of people embellish things. Like, I'm not saying you, but you could have heard something that somebody says is fact and it's not. I'd have to look that up. I've never seen that myself. Okay, so you thought this was very convenient that they were both off, but remember he had the kids, so yes, they would FaceTime with her parents, even though they weren't FaceTiming with her, because they would get too upset if they saw their mother and she wasn't there. And even if he had it all premeditated that it wasn't going to be an issue that they were going to tell her anything because he was planning on getting rid of her, that he wouldn't want to take the chance that Bella or Cece would have said to the Rusaks something about NK being with them or seeing NK. So I don't think he would have taken that chance. I don't think he would have. That's not to say she couldn't have been there and been hiding in the basement or something. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I don't think he would have her around the kids. Okay, so then you go on to say, I do remember that CW met with a friend, right, that was Troy McCoy, kind of out of the blue. The friend stated on Friday to look at this Google Fire Stick. The friend stated that he had the girls with him, right, and they're in the back seat, he waved to them. I feel like he was making sure people were seeing him places that weekend, if you know what I mean. I do know what you mean. Another point is I'd like to make during the interviews, NK, when she was asked a question and lies, you can tell because she over-exaggerates her tone. Yes, she plays a lot with that tone. Investigator asked, have you ever met his children? No, never. Then she goes on to explain the plan as to what they will do in the future, like responsible adults. Then CW's interview with the detective asked if the girls FaceTime with their mother this weekend. No, we don't do that. We did that once and it was not good. I think they met up on Friday with the girls in tow and looked at apartments, just a hunch. I don't think so, again, because of the Rusak thing. And I just don't think he would take a chance with that they would tell Frank or Sandy something about who they were with. And even if he could say, oh, that was the realtor or whoever it was, could have done that, but they don't mention anything like that. And I think if anything, she came over through the basement, and while the girls were napping, they could have been together, and she could have hid out there while, the girls were around, and he kept going down every so often. Who knows? Because the girls take a nap in the afternoon and they go to bed very early. Remember that. And that's a lot of time for them to be alone. Okay. So that was Tanya Renee. Okay. Laura Kenny says, hi Carolyn, did you watch the Michelle Carter case in Massachusetts? It was recently on TV again because she was finally sentenced, although it was not nearly long enough. Thought this case would be interesting for you to discuss. I didn't watch that. I heard about it. Yes, I mean that I believe I already have it in the file to discuss this because someone else had said something. But yeah, it's in the file. It's in there. So we'll see about that, Laura Kenny. Okay, now Lynette Brown, she's got this question. Hi, Mommy, did I read somewhere that police found makeup on a pillow in Shanann's bed So was she face down when he strangled her? Unlikely, because she was pregnant. Or did he put the pillow over her face so she got undressed but didn't take off her makeup, or got undressed and didn't have time to? In the Kelsey Barrett case, she was getting death threats. Was that maybe... Okay, so now we're into another... Okay, hold on. So, yeah, there was stains on the pillows that were taken out of the garbage. There were stains, which could have been makeup. There were brown stains, and so even if she wasn't laying completely on her stomach, she could have had her head turned, or he could have turned her head for her, or he could have grabbed her from behind, put her in the hole, knocked her out. He said he returned them to the bed, remember? So at some point she was in the bed after that, and maybe when he was moving them around, there's makeup residue on the pillow even with that. If he pulled the pillow out from under her head, as she was in the sheet, who knows? It could be a lot of things, yeah. Can we definitively say exactly what was done by that? No, probably not, but, Now you say in the Kelsey Barrett case, she was getting death threats. It could have been Patrick Frazee, yes. We'll find out more. You need a gun, he said. Then they get a gun. Then she goes missing. The gun is missing. I think Patrick was planning this for a while. Yeah, he definitely was, because we know he was soliciting people in September or October for this. So yes, it was planned for a while. Love your content. You really do put a lot of work into your channel. And be a wife and mommy. You go, girl, from Lynette Brown. So yeah, I think tomorrow we'll hopefully hear more, because the judge has to rule on unsealing certain things in the case, like I told you the last time, and let's hope that that they will unseal everything so we can hear exactly what's going on here. But that's going to have a lot of twists and turns, yeah. And definitely he encouraged her to buy the gun, and then I was telling you the last time, he would make sure to tell the mother that Kelsey asked for these things back, the keys and the gun. So yeah, that would be a very good thing. Like, well, I don't know what the gun is. She asked for it back, and I told you that on the phone call. How would I know what the gun is? She went away with the gun, so. Ann Obermark, the movie you're talking about is Deadly Intentions. It came out in 1985. Good movie. Sick, man. Yeah, it was sick, right? I remember. Yeah, that was some movie, and they replayed that a lot, and then you never ran into it again playing on Lifetime or any of those other channels that it used to. I believe it was like in 2 parts, and that was, I think it debuted probably like on one. Remember when like ABC and CBS, they used to have really good movies on like Sunday night or whatever it was. Not anymore, but that was a whacked movie, right? And they said, I think it was Charles Rayner was the doctor's name. That's something to look into. If you haven't seen that movie, you should give that a little viewing time. Okay, so thank you, Ann Obermark, and a bunch of you also said that, so I appreciate everybody being right on that. And I could be my first grade teacher, somebody can pull her in. Just don't do it like Eddie from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Carolyn, I got a little package for you. Okay, and bring her to my doorstep with a bow on her head. I don't want to do anything like that. Nothing I'm going to get arrested for. All right, let's go to, who is this? Willie Weiner. So excited about the book club. Will this be another channel or a part of Mommy Ramblings? Do I need to sign up for a specific place to join in? Sorry, so many questions. I just don't want to miss out. Thanks. You're not going to miss out, Willie. Hopefully with the G Suite, I will be able to play around with that special type of Hangouts they have, which I guess is maybe a cut above the regular Hangouts. See how that works. If that doesn't work out, I'll go to the Zoom, but I'll have time to play around, because I just heard from someone, maybe they're in another country, their book won't be delivered until March 6th. So I'd say this probably put us around, starting this around that time, maybe March 10th or so, and then reading a couple of chapters, and it'll give us time to work out ideas, and then we can, do something in order to get everybody on the same page and find out where everybody is. But I'll work some things out. Maybe a mailing list. Now that I have the email for the true crime chat, maybe I can get a special newsletter that will just go to the people on the book club, and then I'll say when we're having the discussion or whatever. I'll work something out. I'll look into the best way to do it. Okay, and you'll have plenty of notice. I'll make plenty of notice. I'll take out billboards across the country. Okay. All right. So Deb, BC Survivor, says, why were all the police cam video released? Why were all the police cam videos released? Has this ever occurred before? I have seen many interviews of criminals, but never this. I believe CW is where he belongs, yet this question nags at me. I don't think we've ever seen anything released to the extent that it has been in this case with the police cams and with the discovery. Now, it'll be interesting to compare the Frazee case to this one, since they're both in the same state. I know they're not in the same county. It's not the same prosecutor. It's not the same, the local police force. It's not the Frederick police force, but the CBI is involved. The FBI is involved. It will be interesting to see what comes out. And in other cases like this in the future, I just don't think anything has been released so far like this. We've seen interrogations, like we've seen Arias and Jodi Arias. We saw all of that. All of her interviews are there. We see them with the kid that shot up the Parkland school. If you look at YouTube, you can find a lot of those, as you said. But the police cam footage, no, I've never seen anything like this. And I've never seen the amount of discovery that we were privy to. And plus, how quickly this case just went from right out there to him confessing, to the plea deal, to it's a wrap. And, it's just has to be in the Guinness book. It really does. So I think this is just setting precedents all over. Okay, VB says, hi, Mom. Hi, VB. Have you heard about the Ken and Barbie murders? Well, you don't mean real Ken and Barbie, right? Because they're dolls. But, never mind. Paul, Bernardo, and Kayla Homolka, is that it? She ended up getting minimal time for her involvement. Some of us Canadians are still stuck on this, as she lives free and went on to have children and even volunteer at her kids' school. Do you think Frazee's mom may have been directly involved in what happened? I don't want to make any false accusations. I'd love if you made mom mugs like the red one you have from a few videos back. Thanks for all you do. I know what mug you're talking about, and I'd probably get in a lot of trouble if I made a mug like that, because that's distinctive of that that company. Would be nice, right? Maybe we can do something like that. I don't know. We'll have to see what the copyrights are. I don't want to make false accusations either, but I know that Patrick Frazee's mother was detained and questioned, and so we'll have to see. Could she have been a catalyst in some sort? She could have been. She could have been. We have to see what happens there. The way she's fighting for custody from the mother, I tends me to think that she's a very dominant type of a woman. But we'll have to see what happens there. We don't know yet until everything comes out. Something you did say, the Ken and Barbie murders. I've not heard those names, and so I'm assuming it's a Canadian case, as you said. I'll check it out. But I wanted to bring something else up that I've been meaning to tell you guys about true crime. Have any of you seen the documentary Dear Zachary? Dear Zachary. That is a tremendous. I stumbled upon that on Netflix probably maybe 2 years ago. And I forgot to recommend it to you guys. I recommend it to so many people. Dear Zachary. That is just, I don't want to ruin it for anybody that hasn't seen it. I believe there's a link to watch it on YouTube in its entirety. It used to be on Netflix. I don't think it's on Netflix anymore, but you can watch it in its entirety on YouTube. If I can find the link, I will throw it in this video description, or remind me, and I'll try to find it and put it in the live chat. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody until I find out if you guys have seen it. But again, it's Dear Zachary, okay? All right, let me go. Tara G says, Mommy, what's this about a second discovery? Are there sealed records or something? Because if it's out there, we can start searching for it. Many hands make light detective work. Okay, Tara G, you could start looking for my first grade teacher first, okay? Tricia Holmes, Holmes. I believe it's like Sherlock Holmes, okay? And New Jersey, Saddle River, Robert D. Reynolds School, first grade. Okay. After that, there was a second discovery. I have the link, but the link leads to nowhere now, because whether I have to look into it, and you could do this too with your detective work, was the second discovery something that we have to write for? Because I know that there is something that Scott Reich, is it Reich, or how does he pronounce his last name? Because I only see it, Reich, mentions that he sent away for something. So I don't know whether the person that posted that link sent away for something. I mean, really, come on, what could it be? We could get that together and send away for it too. So yeah, you might want to find out where that came from, because when I followed the link again, it said this was removed by so-and-so, and it gave his Facebook profile, and I went there and I asked him about it, like, what's up? Where is this? What's going on? Why'd you remove it? You couldn't keep it up there? Is there a law? What's going on? And he never got back to me. Can you believe that? But no, he probably didn't see the Facebook message. If you're not friends with the person, a lot of times you don't see a Facebook message right away. Then, who am I talking? Sometimes I don't see my Facebook messages for weeks. Okay. But I did see this when somebody gave me the link to it. And it really was very repetitive. There might have been a few things in it, but it was nothing earth-shattering, and it was nothing like the discovery that we have. It was just like a tiny little thing of links. And I think there were like a few pictures, but like I said, a lot of it overlapped. A lot of it was the same kind of stuff. So really, it wasn't like something that was earth-shattering in there. I did see it all, and nothing really was crazy. But if you want to find out where it is after you're done finding that teacher, that would be good. Okay, here we go. So MH1953H says, my second question for today, I didn't get to your first one, MH. We're going to do the second one first. We're going in reverse order. Was Shanann ever afraid of Chris? Thank you so much for all you do. You're welcome for all that I do. She did say she didn't feel safe in a text. And I think she didn't mean safe that he was going to kill her. I think she just meant safe in her marriage. It wasn't a safe place anymore where she felt stable. I think that's the type of safe she meant. A lot of people are saying, well, she didn't feel safe, as if she could tell he was going to kill her. I don't think it was that type of safe, because she wouldn't leave her kids in an environment like that, and she wouldn't go home to an environment like that. I think she meant safe, really just being like the sanctity of your home, the sanctity of your marriage, of your life, and didn't feel safe, didn't know what he was up to. Again, not in a way that she thought he was going to kill her, but just that she didn't know what to expect anymore, kind of thing. Okay, Corinne Brown says, sorry, another CW question. I don't think this has been asked. Can CW file an appeal? I mean, he confessed, he told them where the bodies are. It's hard to argue that didn't happen, but I guess anyone can have an appeal. They had very poor legal representation. This is something that somebody, I don't know who it was one of those Shanann bashers, I don't know which one it was, said something to someone like, well, they couldn't get him an attorney. They said they couldn't get him an attorney. And I felt like saying, no, he chose to have a public defender. And I even heard this from the woman that I was talking to, that was what she said, that Chris wouldn't let them get him an attorney. But this woman turned it around and said they wouldn't let him. They wouldn't let him get another, and that's a lie. That's what I'm saying. You've got to watch the lies. So yeah, he had a choice to get an attorney if someone was going to pay for it. If his parents were willing to pay for it, he had the choice to get an attorney. He didn't have to take a public defender. So that's a lie. And the other thing is, you asked about an appeal. There was a period of time after that plea deal that he had that he could reject the plea, say, I don't want the plea deal, I want to go through with this. He had a window of time, but that's over. So I have to look up exactly if he could ever appeal this, or, like Cindy was saying, well, why aren't they doing it? You don't see them doing anything. There's a lot of talk. I don't see them doing anything. And if they said he was coerced and everything, but I haven't seen any action behind those words. It could just be something that's, okay, we'll just hide behind this and poor us, and we won't have to do anything. But I don't see any action behind it. So they'll say, okay, well, he doesn't want to do that. Well, then if he doesn't want to do that, then maybe you need to understand why. I think that window's gone, and he would have to have something, so not just, you can't just say, oh, this didn't go this way. He's got to have real grounds to have an appeal, especially after the plea deal and after, not even contesting the wrongful death. So yeah, I think it would be very, very difficult to do anything to appeal that. Okay. Vivi says, hi, Mommy. Thank you so much for all these awesome videos. I personally would love for you to do a video on abducted in plain sight. Okay, I think I might have answered I will get to that one. Let's see if we have anybody else here. Oh, Kathy Hendricks says, how do I get a copy of the CD discovery documents, paper copy? You can. Oh, we'll let you enlarge them. Okay, you can just take them to your phone. I can put the link in the video description, but from your phone, I just printed these from the discovery with my phone, okay? And you should be able to print them out and then have your papers. That's what I print them out when I need them. So if you just go to that link, you can print from that link, as long as you're wirelessly connected to a printer. Are you able to do that? Let me know. But that's how you would do it. Or you could go to the library too. If you don't have a desktop or something, you could go to the library and read it there on the library computer. And you could print from there too. Charlie Bayer says, why are people stating that Vivint recorded the murders as a matter of fact? Charlie, when you can come up with the answer for why people state things as a matter of fact that are not a matter of fact, I'd love to know that answer, because I don't know why people do this. Do you think they're intentionally deceiving people? I don't know why, or do they really believe it themselves? I don't know, and I can go over it till I'm blue in the face, but I know when certain videos came out, people were like, no, this is the one they had. It had cameras all over the house. Everything was recorded. It's all recorded. And then finally, then you saw people like, okay, yeah, right, it's not. They had motion detectors. You could show it in black and white. They had motion detectors. Okay, but there's still people that'll go around saying, no, everything was recorded, and it's human nature, I don't know, and some people capitalize on it for other reasons, or some people just say, like, maybe they truly think that Vivint, I don't know, they buy a system, they see there's options, so do they really believe that every single person that has a Vivint system has the exact same system? Do they know that not everyone has cameras in the house? I don't know, I don't know. I get frustrated too. I feel your pain there. And you say, will the footage of Vivint recorded be released, even if well, they have it from the doorbell camera. It says it right in the discovery. They have Shanann walking in. She's not staggering. She's carrying her suitcase. And then there's no reason to believe she's inebriated or anything. So we know that. We know that. We don't have any other footage except from Nate. Okay. Does CW know how much social media attention his crime is still getting? Has he had visitors? How do we get copies of private letters mailed to him? Well, since he's been transferred, we don't have anything because the other stuff was released in the discovery. So that's why we have the letters and everything. We're not going to be privy to any of his letters now unless somebody leaks that stuff. I'm not asking for anybody at the prison to be leaking that stuff. I'm just saying. So as far as his visitors list and everything, unless there is someone up there that, I don't know how it's going to get to us. Now, I know with certain inmates, and people have been trying to look it up, because you can look up an inmate and then see if they're having any behavioral problems or if they've been disciplinary things, but you can't look him up. He doesn't come up in the system, but he only comes up, they said, if you want to send him money. So whether they're doing that for his own protection, but I don't get it. I really don't get it, because so you're telling me that he's the only guy that's going to have this protection, that you can't look him up on the website? I don't know. Seems kind of silly that they would make all these changes for him, right? I don't know. I'd like to see some reports on him as well. But if he's anything like those other reports, then I don't know. Then he's just going to be sitting around reading and whatever. And I know it's probably a big trek for his parents. Are his parents, will they end up moving out that way? I don't know. Or will they just, not be concerned with it? He did try to call his father once when he was in jail. And that's, again, it's in, the DEA mentions it. It's not in the discovery, it's in one of the DA's interviews. And there was no answer. They didn't pick up the phone, and Chris never tried again. And then he didn't speak to them. And they said, I don't know whether it's because it's a recorded line or, what else, or he just didn't want to speak to them. Okay, so I'm going to take, let's see, Charlie Bear still has, I think he has got another part, and then one more question, and then, let's see here. Okay, I answered all your questions. It's Charlie Bayer. I keep calling you Bear, but it's Bear like Bear aspirin, okay? Okay, so Thea Pez says, do you ever wonder why Shanann did not check the phone records with the cell phone company? I know you can have easy access, absolutely. If she had done that, would she have noticed? Why didn't she do that? Someone had mentioned, I believe it was Lauren, that they had a very high level of trust. My hair is driving me nuts. That they had a very high level of trust between them. So if that wouldn't be something she did, yes, you could easily go on to your whatever, if you have Verizon Wireless or whatever. I have Verizon Wireless, so I know I can go in there and I can see if you're looking at usage, text messages. You're not going to see the content of text messages. You will see the numbers and you will see phone calls. That's how Verizon Wireless works. But I don't know what plan they had, but I'm sure it would have been very similar for her to do that. You wouldn't think she would do that, especially when she saw the charge, except maybe some people are like, look, I just don't want to go that can of worms right now. I'm going to see what he says about it or whatever, or wishful thinking, whatever. So, yeah, I don't know. I wish she would have done that when she was in North Carolina. I wish she would have had the bell, the doorbell app working right when she was in North Carolina. It could be what she was calling and telling him to get the Vivint fixed for, because she wasn't getting doorbell notifications or seeing anything. I wish she would have, like I said, had a camera in there, put it in even a little nanny cam that he didn't know about, that would work remotely with her phone, that he had no idea about. Wish she would have done a lot of things like that. But yeah, checking phone records, especially when she became kind of suspicious of what the hell is going on with him, and when she was in North Carolina, I wish she would have. I wish she would have. Absolutely. Okay, and who is that? Thea Pez. And if she had done that, would she have noticed? Yeah, she would have noticed. I'm sure she would have NK's number. Why didn't she do that? right, would have known he was cheating, started using his personal phone, but yeah, and then the burner phones, but he had made plenty of things on it. If I recall correctly, NK didn't want them, right, they weren't supposed to be using his work phone. She did tell him not to, so yeah. Okay, so G. Miller says, hi, I love listening to you on my commute. Thank you for all you do. Can you touch on the stomach contents of both babies? I heard Belle's had oil or sludge, but Cece did not. Some are speculating she might have been alive. No, they had empty stomachs, and that's what they were saying. Well, maybe they would be able to tell the time of death, but they had empty stomachs from what you can look at the autopsy, but she had some oil, but it wasn't, the coroner said, it wasn't that she drowned in the oil or anything like that. It wasn't like anything like that. It wasn't anything like that. I can bring that stuff up for you and continue your question on the next one so that I have the files in front of me and give you the exact answer, okay? Okay, Shannon Wilson asked me to look into the Jessica Chambers case. Yes, I have. Has ended in 2 mistrials so far. Very interesting case. Yes, I've begun to do that. So let me hear in the chat if any of you are interested in the Jessica Chambers case as well. And that was from Shannon Wilson. I'm going to end it there. And I'm just going to show you something before I go. And we'll do some more question and answers. And I said, and then we'll have that big party when we hit 10,000 subscribers with balloons and cake, and we'll have a live party, and I don't know, we'll do something fun. I don't want, whoops, let me sit down. I don't want this to be like the Sesame Street. You remember when that guy, those of you who watched Sesame Street, the cook would come out of the kitchen with like 13 cream puffs, and he would fall down the stairs every time? Every time I take the big baked goods, I wonder about, that's not baked. Obviously, it's not baked. That's the ice cream cake that I made, but I make these all the time. I make these all the time. Very simple. I have a video on them. You should check it out. Much better than Carvel. You can use any kind of ice cream that you want. So I use, the non-GMO, the better ice creams. They don't have that horrible blue food coloring icing that gets all over your hands. My husband hated those, but my kids love ice cream cakes. And then I was baking, because I make other good cakes with my own buttercream and everything. The kids kept, my older kids especially, because we always had ice cream cakes. I always had ice cream cakes on my birthday. They were like, where are the ice cream cakes? And then I was tired because we were buying the Carvel ones, and my husband would go nuts because the blue would get all over, and that's all that they would have, and it was somewhere in the cake. And so then I started making my own. Easy, you can do a lot of variations. Look at that, you can hold it almost vertically, but I've got to put this one back in the freezer. That's one of the things I was working on. Look, can you believe it? True crime and cake. With that said, I'm going to get this back in the freezer. See you all, guys. I'll see you all later. And if we've reached those, when we reach those, because we're positive, when we reach those 10,000, we'll have another cake of some kind. Make me bake. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.